Hello, ghouls and goblins, and welcome back to another day of Book-A-Ween. Today I have a pretty exciting vlog coming for you guys. It is a haunted house vlog. So I love haunted house themed things. I do not actually like haunted houses as in the jump scare haunted houses. To me, I don't like people touching me, and they can touch me, and I feel like I would just elbow somebody to the face and get an assault charge. Like, I think that's what would happen. But if you want to go to an actual haunted like house or asylum, totally down. Just none of that fake stuff. But I like haunted house themed things. So I figured that I would do a haunted house vlog for you guys. So we have 2 books for this vlog. I'm going to keep it kind of short and sweet just simply because I have 7 videos in 7 days. 2 of which are vlogs. So we gotta get doing the reading, as Erin would say. The first book for this vlog is going to be Old Country by Matt and Harrison Currie. This one showed up on my radar after one of my Patreons, Sammy, had said that she really enjoyed it, thought that it was super spooky, and highly recommended the audiobook. So I thought this had already kind of popped up as something that sounded interesting to me, so I definitely knew that I wanted to include this one in this vlog. Best I recall, this one is about a couple that decides that they want to get away from urban living, and they go to this home in a valley, and it's actually haunted, something like that. So it may not be the house itself that's haunted, but it is the area of the house that's haunted. So I feel like that's close enough, right? And then I was kind of waffling between 2 different books for this vlog. Originally, I was going to do The Nesting by C.J. Cook, but I can't get it. Like, I cannot get the audiobook for it anywhere. And the way that life is right now, I'm not going to have time to physically read it. So, this is going to sound counterintuitive because the other book that I'm reading, The Haunting of Rookwood House by Darcy Coates. No, I do not have an audiobook for that one either. However, Darcy Coates reads so freaking fast, and I can get it on my Kindle so I can read like during my lunch break at work. And this particular one, I have actually read, I tried to read The Haunting of Ashburn House and didn't love it. And then I recently read The Caro Haunt and really enjoyed that one. So Darcy Coates has been kind of hit or miss for me, but I want another hit. So we're going to do The Haunting of Rookwood House. I read the first chapter, was really interested in it, so I do want to continue. And I believe this one is about a guy that has an accident and wants to kind of get away. And when he finds out that they own this old house, he's going to re-renovate it and try to get it sold so that they can move away from all of the things that have happened in their hometown, he and his mother. So that one I'm hoping will be very creepy. The atmosphere in Caro Haunt was like top notch. So I'm really hoping that this one delivers on the atmosphere as well. So those are the 2 books that I'm going to be reading for this vlog. I hope you guys enjoy, and let's jump in to the first clip of Old Country. Okay, I'm literally coming off the end of one vlog straight into another one, but I have started Old Country by Matt and Harrison Currie. I'm about 35-ish% of the way into this one, and this is following a couple that has decided that they want to get away from the hustle and bustle that is the city of Denver, and they want to kind of go up into the mountains, into a valley, and just live the ranch life. And so they found a property that they think is really going to work for them, and they take their golden retriever, they pack up all their belongings, and they go. And when they get there, they go next door to talk to the neighbors that probably don't live within like 10 miles of them. This is just the expanse in the middle of nowhere. And the neighbors are very welcoming, and they say, hey, we'd like to come over sometime and tell you about the land. So they do, and when they come, they don't just come to tell them about the land, they come to tell them about a malevolent spirit that lives on the land as well. And all of these rules and things that you have to do to kind of keep the spirit at bay. Sounds really intriguing in theory. Unfortunately, so far, execution, not so great. Our main characters, not fun to read from. They are just obnoxious. It's not even like an unlikable character kind of situation. They're just obnoxious. They spend more time talking about how perfect the other person is than actually doing or saying anything of substance. And that just doesn't make a lot of sense to me in a horror. If it were a romance, okay, fine. But why in a horror are we talking about how perfect the other individual is? Maybe that'll come into play later, and I certainly hope so. The Golden Retriever is great. We love the Golden Retriever. Unfortunately, the spirit aspect of this so far has just been very odd. I don't feel like there are a lot of stakes. Like the things that they're saying the spirit's going to do and then what you have to do in retaliation to that just don't really match up. So if you don't want to know anything about a little further into the book, just kind of stop here and give me a second, and I will put up a little spoiler tag so that you guys are aware. I don't consider this huge spoilers because it happens within the first 20-ish%, but if you don't want to know anything, you don't want to know anything. So one of the things is if you see a light in the lake, then you have to go and light a fire. If you don't light a fire, then there's drums, and if you don't cover the windows, something bad's gonna happen. Okay, fine. We also have a naked man, like a naked man being chased by a bear screaming for help, but you don't really know anything about said naked man. It's very, very strange. And then when Sasha, one of our main characters, asks Lucy, the other old lady that lives there, hey, what happens if we don't do all of this stuff that you want us to do? She's like, I'm gonna have to think about that. I need to get to know you a bit better before I answer that question. Bitch, we are trying to make sure that we don't die, and you're just gonna tell me, well, I need to get to know you a little bit better before I tell you how something could possibly kill you? That does not make any sense. Like, they live on the land, they've got the rules, so why would you just not tell them anything other than to keep mystery for the plot? It's just little stuff like that that's making me stop in the middle of the story and go, huh? What? That does not make any sense. And I don't mind that when it's a confusion intrigue, but when it just does not make sense, it's frustrating. So I'm hoping that all of that does start to play out a little bit. I even Googled about this spirit to see if it was actually lore, and the fact that all of these little things just didn't, I don't know, they don't seem scary. Like, they don't really seem to make sense to me in scale of how everybody's reacting. So I Googled it. I was like, okay, maybe there is actually a spirit and this is the legend. And even though it doesn't seem scary to me and it doesn't seem like it would cause this kind of reaction, maybe it actually existed, or not existed, but maybe it's actually a legend and that's why they're writing it this way. Nope, I couldn't find anything. Nada. But then I looked through Goodreads reviews to see if maybe in the like questions asked, if that was asked. Couldn't find the questions asked in their new like book thing. I don't know if I like the book page, but anyway, a lot of the reviews said that the first third was very poorly executed in writing, and one review said it even seemed to be written by a completely different person in the second and third parts. So I'm hoping that that is true and it'll really start to pick up and carry through for me. We'll see. I'm definitely going to keep reading. It's not a DNF kind of situation. It's just like, huh? It's a kind of situation. Anyway, I am going to try to get this done relatively quickly and then get a little bit of the nesting done. Those are going to be, I think, the only 2 books that I read for this vlog. I don't have anything else to do tonight. I have nothing exciting to talk to you guys about. So once I do get something exciting to talk to you guys about, I'll let you know. Hello, hi, wow, I look rough, but I have an update. So we're just going to ignore this and we're going to talk about this, okay? Okay. I don't know what I'm going to end up rating this one. I'm thinking probably like a 2.5. I definitely do think that it picked up more in the second half to last third of the story, and I definitely did enjoy it more. Unfortunately, I think my biggest problem with this one is that it was trying to create tension and never succeeded for me. So you could see the authors trying really, really hard just to build ramp that tension, but I never felt the bottom line. So every time we were trying to ramp up the tension, I just never got there. I never felt like it was something that was going to keep me on the edge of my seat. I was never just, oh my goodness, what's going to happen next? I can't wait to find out what's going to happen to these characters. Who's going to live? Who's going to die? Do I care? Never really got to that point, and I think that was the most detrimental thing for me in this story. There were a lot of points and plot holes where I was like, I don't understand why this is this way, and I don't need to understand why things are the way that they are. And for everything in a horror book, I feel like there is a level of you're just gonna have to suspend belief kind of thing. However, I do think that things just need to make sense, and I will say that some of the stuff that they did explain at the end of the book, and unfortunately for me, that was the stuff that I didn't need explained. That was the just part of the story that I didn't need you to give me an explanation for why it was the way that it was. I don't know how to really articulate what I'm talking about without spoilers, but there were just certain things about this that I was like, but that doesn't make sense. And it was not necessarily the rituals and things of that nature. Didn't necessarily feel like I needed a hardcore explanation for those. I did appreciate what it was trying to do as far as, I believe, like Native Americans and their land and their cultures and their experiences. Ollie didn't get a walk today, and so he is a very, very hyper. He's having issues. I wish you guys could see this. And he made it. So I did appreciate what it was trying to do there and the conversation that it was trying to have, but that only goes so far when we're talking about like 20 pages versus the entire 300 and something pages that this was. Ollie, stop for just a minute, baby, so I can talk. Just for a minute so I can talk. He's very upset with me right now. Anyway, I wanted to love this one so much, and it was because I had heard there was so much tension and people were on the edge of their seat and so creeped out, and I just never got there. So, sadly, this Haunted Valley Haunted House story is probably going to get like a 2.5, high 2 from me. It wasn't a bad book, but it just was not what I was hoping for. So, that's that. And then I am also reading... I decided to forego my earlier plans, and I'm not going to tell you what that was in case I do ever decide to come back to that, but I decided to start The Haunting of Rookwood House by Darcy Coates. She is very well known for her haunted house stories, and even though I haven't liked a couple, I did really, really like Carrow Haunt, and so I wanted to give another one a try. So far, I'm 23% in, and I like it. I don't love it as much as Carrow Haunt. I think I am going to prefer her first-person stories to her third-person, because she's doing this thing in third person where she's putting in a lot of italics to tell you what the character is thinking, but 95% of the time, it's just over-explanation, so she's telling you something that you already know, and that's kind of getting on my nerves, but that's small. That's not a big deal. The ante does start pretty early in this book, so we do kind of get that thrills and chills, spooky, is there somebody in the window kind of thing pretty early, and I do wish we gotten just a little bit more lead up time to that, but I am enjoying it. So this one follows Guy, who is living with his mother after something happened with his girlfriend or wife, and she forgets that she basically had this deed to a house after her father died. And so he decides he's going to go out there, he's going to fix it up, they're going to be able to sell it, and then it's going to kind of pave the way for them to get out of this town and pay off all of her debt, etc., etc. So he gets out there and there's no water, there's no lights, there's no internet, there's no nothing, and he's just going to fix up this house, but some things are starting to happen and there's a woman in the window and it's very, very creepy. That's in 2015. This book also has an alternative, or not alternative, but past timeline in, I think, 1965. And that one is creepy. It's a husband, wife, and I believe they're 2 or 3 children. And there is someone there that is potentially going to harm their kids, and he feels like he can't even leave them alone in their house, and he may lose his job over this. So all of that, I'm very, very interested in the 1965 timeline. The 2015 timeline is fine, but I am very, very excited to see where the 65 timeline goes. So far so good. I will let you guys know what I think when I've gotten a little bit further in. Like I said, I'm only 25%, so not a whole heck of a lot has happened yet, but I'm excited. I'm excited to read into the Darcy Coates. Hopefully I enjoy it. I've been rambling long enough. Ollie wants his toy, so I'm gonna go. No, I have absolutely no reading update. Yes, I am in the same shirt I was in yesterday. I just wanted to show you guys that I got a new phone. It's the new iPhone 14 Pro Max or whatnot. My phone was actually pretty old and it was way due for it to be upgraded, so I just figured why the heck not. This thing looks like a tiny TV. Like, the edges on my old phone were really, really wide, so how far it stuck out from like the screen from around the edges, there was a lot of black around. This one has basically no black, and I don't know that I really care one way or the other how they like changed the notch up at the top, but you know, that's fine. It's a little bit bigger than my old one, which my old one was like a 10 or something like that. But the only thing I don't like about it, and you guys tell me if you've had this problem, is the camera. I know that they're trying to make them like bigger, better, more awesome, and that's wonderful, but I have this, and I have you, and I have my Sony, so I don't necessarily need it to be like the biggest and the best, but it sticks out. Like, can you guys see that? Wait. Is it gonna focus? It's not, is it? There it is. So it sticks out really, really far from the base of the phone, and so if you're laying it flat, it wobbles when you text on it, which is really annoying. And I'm also afraid that I'm gonna like wallop it on something because it sticks out so far. So I have a case coming. I don't like hanging out with no case, even though theoretically you're supposed to be able to do that with these now. And I'm hoping that the case will make the camera a little bit more flush with the back so that it doesn't stick out so far. I don't know. We'll see. You guys tell me if you've had this problem, and if that doesn't fix it, what your suggestions would be to fix it, because it's driving me crazy. But anyway, other than that, I absolutely love it. It's time for me to have gotten a new phone, and I'm very, very excited. It got here way faster than I thought it would, and I'm really enjoying it. So I just figured I would share because I'm enjoying it, and we all need some happy in our lives, right? So you remember I was telling you about the new phone and the new camera. We're about to see how good, bad, or otherwise the new camera is. This is the front-facing camera. I'm just too lazy to go get my actual camera to do this update, so sorry. But I promise I will use it for the rest of the updates. But it's like 9 o'clock at night, and it's all the way in there, and anyway. I do have thoughts on the Haunting of Rookwood House. So far, I'm having a good time. I won't say that this is the best written thing in the whole wide world. Like, technically speaking, the writing is very, very basic. We have a lot of, like, over-explanation, very simple sentences. The character's dialogue doesn't feel very natural for most of the book. But I don't know that I care that much. I mean, it's not going to get a 5-star because of that, but at the same time, I'm still having a good time. I'm interested in the story. It is slow moving, but there's enough snippets here and there that it's keeping me intrigued. So I'm having a good time. I'm 40% in, and we've just kind of figured out more about the 1965 timeline, what exactly went down, more about that. We also found out what happened with Guy and his fiance to make him want to leave town. That part was the part that I was like, oh, this is not the most well-written explanation in the whole wide world, but you just kind of needed a plot device to get him out there, so I'm fine with it. I will hopefully be finishing this tomorrow. That's my goal, is to get it done by tomorrow. I've only got like an hour left. It reads super, super fast. It's just a good old spooky time. And while The Whispering Dead's writing really, really bothered me with how unnatural it felt, the unnatural parts of this are still there. You can tell it was written 5 years ago. I mean, she's had a lot more time between now and some of the other ones that I've read to really kind of settle into her writing style. And characterization, not really her strong suit, but I don't really expect it to be. So if characters are something that really, really drives a book for you, then this one's not going to be for you. But if you're looking for more just like a spooky atmosphere and you want haunted house vibes, then it might work really well. And I went into it for spooky atmosphere and haunted house vibes, so it's fun. It's fun. I'm sprinting with Cassidy right now, and I'm trying to get a little bit of reading in, but I keep getting distracted. So I should probably stop talking and go back to reading. Will I? I don't know, but at least I got this update in. So sorry for the phone update. We'll see how quality is in editing, and if it's terrible, then you may never see this, and I just may be talking to myself. But if you see this, great. Hopefully it was interesting. Hello all, a very sleepy Mel coming to you to give you my final thoughts on the Haunting of Rookwood House. I think I've been saying that wrong this whole time. I have some really mixed feelings on this one. Part of the thing is, with Darcy Coates, I think I'm learning that you really need to read them in a couple of sittings. This particular one, because of life, I just had to kind of put off, not necessarily put off, but I got halfway through it and had to put it down for a little while, then was picking it back up again. And so I do feel like her books do best when they can kind of keep their momentum and you can really keep going and reading through that really quick, high octane type pace. For me, this one I did not enjoy reading from Guy. He just was not a great character for me, and being in that third perspective point of view where we were constantly getting his inner thoughts just didn't work for me. I felt like it was a little bit overdone as far as his inner thoughts went. I did think that Amy was very, very creepy, and I kind of maybe like how we never really fully knew what was going on there. One thing that I did not love was how little Amy we actually got. She is kind of the ghost, the entity that's haunting Rookwood House, but honestly, she's really not that present in this book. And because Darcy Coates tries to do so much with her, the fact that she's not there at all lended to a lot of logic problems. There were certain things that were happening at the end of the book that just they weren't necessary and they didn't really make sense. I don't want to say exactly what because it is a spoiler, but Amy was able to do something that just didn't make sense as far as, I don't know. It didn't, there was no explanation for it. There was no lead up to it. And I don't necessarily need there to be an explanation if it had been something that was just kind of known from the beginning, a thing that she was able to do. That would have been fine. But the fact that it just came in the last like 15%, they were like, here you go, here's this thing. Didn't entirely love that. I felt like the ending was fine. I didn't have a problem with the ending. I kind of expected that more hopeful type ending from Darcy Coates, and it was fine. Unlike Caro Haunt, where the ending didn't exactly ruin the book for me, but I really, really didn't like it. The ending of this one didn't really bother me at all. I feel like it did still have a very good kind of keep you on the edge of your seat writing style, and I think it could have been a really good book had it been a touch longer and a little more focused. So I think I'm going to give this one a lower 3-star. I'm glad I read it, and I think I'm starting to slowly learn what I like more from Darcy, and I'm excited to read more from her. I've had a couple of hit, couple of misses. This one just kind of falls somewhere in the middle. I don't know, part of me says that the logic was so bad that I really do need to rate this down a little bit, but the other part of me says it's a 250 page horror novel about ghosts. What exactly did you expect on the logic scale? Like, this is not an epic high fantasy. So I think because it did what it set out to do, I'm going to give it a 3. I enjoyed it. It was good. Wasn't as good as Caro Haunt, but was still good. So I definitely will be reading more from her, probably From Below next, because I know Cassidy really, really enjoyed that one when she read it not too long ago. And I've been interested in Craven Manor. That's the one that me and Kaylee and Cassidy were thinking about buddy reading. So I'm really interested in Craven Manor. From Below, I do want to try both of those. Also, is it Blackwood House? That one sounded really interesting. So she's got a bunch that I'm still really interested in reading and hopefully will get to very, very soon. But I think that's going to wrap up all of my thoughts for this vlog. Hope you guys had a good time. Let me know down in the comments what Darcy Coates you would recommend me read, knowing that I really liked Caro Haunt, because I do really want to read more of her stuff. Like, I like the writing style and I like how fast her writing style moves and how easy it is to read. I'm just looking for the vibes. I'm looking for the vibes from Caro Haunt, and I feel like we didn't get enough Amy for this book to truly have the vibes. Does that make sense? So anyway, had a good time with it. Glad I read it. Let me know down in the comments which ones you think I should read. If you guys want to hang out with me a little bit more, as always, the link to my Patreon as well as Twitter, Instagram, and Goodreads are all linked down below. I hope you guys enjoy this video, and I will see you tomorrow for the next day of Bookaween. Bye!